So let's go into it. So what we're doing this morning is simply framing the conference. So giving you a little bit of introductory information that helps you frame where do we go next. And to start us off is Juan Baena Franco. He is a project specialist at UN Tourism. There's not anything that he doesn't know anything about because they've done all the research. And he's going to give you a lot of information. This area of UN Tourism is the agency in charge of promotion of responsible, sustainable, and universally accessible tourism. And he works at the affiliated members department, brings a lot of companies, over 500 companies together, and does a lot of research. And he's said that he is willing to share that research with us today, and we are happy to have you here and share both here, and you will be participating later on in the panel as well. So welcome, Juan Carlos. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, John, for the great introduction. I feel like I forgot my firework to make it more entertaining, but I brought a lot of data trends that I hope you find as interesting as the fireworks as well. And yeah, just to give you a little bit more of information on where we come from. We are the United Nations agency responsible for tourism, and we monitor the sector and we watch the trends that are happening, and we try to share it with all the sector. Usually, United Nations is more government-focused, let's say. They focus a lot on ministries, governments, presidents, but United Nations tourism has a, let's say, unique feature that we work very closely with the private sector. And that's why we're here today. And basically, what we wanted to do is to share with you a little bit more of information on how the tourism sector is performing and what are other trends that you might be wanting to watch and try to stay ahead in order to sell to your clients. But before I start with all the numbers and all the trends that we're going to go through, I just wanted to thank Lufthansa City Center for the very kind invitation. And also, I was talking to our Secretary General on the fact that we were coming to this event, and we were preparing a little bit of the content, and he told me, okay, what you should do is to thank all the travel agents because they are a key part of the tourism sector that sometimes is forgotten. So thank you to all of you. This is not working. Okay, now it's working. So we just wanted to review first how tourism is performing internationally, and there is a very positive message to send in this regard. Tourism is back, and you all know that. And the very latest data that we have at the moment, which is up to May last month, is that 97% of the tourism sector in terms of arrivals compared to pre-COVID time is already recovered. As you can see here, only 3% is left, but there are other data that shows even more enthusiasm or more willingness to travel from people. And if we look a little bit onto the regions, in terms of which regions are still ahead or behind in terms of tourism recovery, we see that there are regions that are ahead, especially Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Americas is almost recovered, and the only continent that is still behind in terms of tourist arrivals is Asian Pacific, and that's simply because countries like China or Japan took a bit longer to open up their tourism sectors. But for example, Middle East was very quick to open up to everyone again. They had the FIFA World Cup, for example, so that helped to recover tourism in the countries in the region. And that was a little bit of information on tourist arrivals, but we also look into how much is spent by tourists on tourism. And actually, expenditure recovered faster than tourist arrivals. and that means that people are spending more on tourism. Actually, we reached a record number already. We are back to records of 1.5 trillion US dollars in the tourism expenditure up to May 2024. The green line here that you see represents expenditure, the money that is spent by tourists when they are on trips, and the blue line is the number of trips. So you can see that expenditure has remained above tourist arrivals after COVID. And yeah, this is also information about what's the percentage of expenditure on tourism that is recovered so far. And basically, in 2023, already saw almost the entire recovery on what's spent worldwide on tourism. Again, here we can compare it a little bit, the recovery of arrivals versus expenditure, and we see all the time that expenditure has been recovering faster. What does it mean for you? That actually the people that are traveling are spending more on tourism. And I also wanted to touch on some of the recap numbers for 2023, and what are the destinations at the country level that has performed best for the latest year. And we are back to France, Spain, United States at the top 3 of destinations worldwide in terms of tourist visits. And the ranking looks very much similar to what we had before COVID. And the same happens with where tourists spend more money. Again, United States, Spain, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Europe concentrates a lot of the expenditure on tourism. But maybe what is more important as well, or more interesting, is that the countries where more outbound expenditure is generated has changed a little bit. China is back to the top, and that means that Chinese travelers are back and are spending again quite a lot, and that there should be efforts by destinations to try to adapt to the Chinese traveler. But beyond that, the list looks pretty much the same as we had in pre-COVID time. United States, Germany, United Kingdom, France are the main outbound markets for source tourists. And we are also seeing that India is picking up very quickly. Before COVID, we didn't have India in this list, but the population in India is growing. There is a booming middle class that is also keen to know the world as well. And there is a large diaspora of Indians outside. So India is another market to watch in order to concentrate marketing efforts for destinations. And now, this might be more interesting for you, travel agents, that we see what are the destinations that are performing or growing faster. And this means that are destinations that you might want to start putting in your portfolio, or knowing more, or trying to send already your clients there to see what's their opinion and see if it's suitable for other clients. And basically, this list of destinations are destinations that are growing the fastest. It doesn't mean that they have grown the most, but the fastest from a starting point. And we see on the top Qatar, since they hosted recently the World Cup, but also Puerto Rico, Saudi Arabia, Albania, El Salvador. Well, you can see the entire list here. And this, by the way, this presentation will be made available to all of you in case you also want to have the data later on. And this information might be a little bit biased because it refers to destinations that have grown a lot, but it might be from a very low starting point in terms of tourists. But we also have data for the destinations that have grown the most and destinations that already are well established and receive at least more than 5 million tourists. And we have at the top Saudi Arabia. We all know they are investing heavily in tourism. Albania, Dominican Republic, Morocco, Europe makes up a lot of the list with traditional destinations like France, Turkey, Greece, Spain. And we have newcomers, let's say, for example, Uzbekistan, that is also on the list in terms of destinations that are growing fastest and that are already established. And now we also wanted to look a little bit deeper into the regions. What are the destinations in each continent that are also growing fastest? And here we have Africa and Middle East together, with Qatar and Saudi Arabia growing at the fastest pace. And those are those countries that are also investing heavily on tourism, as we mentioned before. Now we go to Americas. El Salvador makes it to the fastest growing country. And we also have island destinations in the Caribbean that are performing well, and also well-established destinations like Colombia or Dominican Republic. Asia Pacific, again, we have on the top island destinations, Maldives and Fiji, and other destinations that were not so well established before, like Mongolia. And finally is Europe, with Albania making it to the top because of the, as I said, the large increase on tourist arrivals. It doesn't mean that, for example, Spain is not growing more in terms of numbers, but the percentage change is bigger in Western Europe, as you can see, Albania, Serbia, Bulgaria. And having said that, I just wanted to share as well some prospects for the year ahead, or what we have left for the year. We put together a panel of experts from different sectors within tourism, hospitality, airlines, travel agencies, destinations, governments, to tell us what they think, even tourists, what they think about the prospect for tourism. And 60% say that 2024 will be even better than 2023. Here we have information about what we expect to be for the tourism sector performance to be for what is left in 2024. And basically, there are a lot of enthusiasm at the moment. Bookings are being made, but we expect to have some sort of stabilization this year and have more steady numbers in terms of growth. Nevertheless, there are also concerns about what's happening in the sector and how it's going to perform as well in the near future. We also asked these experts what they think are going to be the main challenges that tourism is going to face in the coming years, and they mentioned cost for travel as the main concern for tourism to develop, but also their new concerns are coming up are being mentioned quite frequently. For example, extreme weather conditions might condition tourism, staff shortages in hotels, airlines, airports, and as you can see also geopolitical risk. Now we have Ukraine, Israel, and all these things might drive prices for tourism and inflation up. And just to also look into some consumer trends that we are seeing, and we also wanted to share with you. We wanted to touch on a few topics. first of the things I wanted to mention is sports tourism. We see a lot of interest of travelers to go to do sports events, go with their families that are competing in competitions worldwide. And actually, sports drives 10%, according to our estimations, of tourism. So that this means for you that it's a good option to also put into your packages, options to visit this kind of events and activities. We have Paris 2024 coming up now, but there will be many other that you can get ready to start selling ahead. Something similar happens with music shows, concerts, festivals. We see the Taylor Swifts, the Beyoncés, all these people are driving tourism quite fast. And this is also a trend that you should also consider when offering to your clients that tickets for concerts or experience that engage with music or other kind of activities in the field are an option to sell more and sell better. Also get ready to sell destinations that are shown on Netflix, HBO, all these platforms, because we see a lot of more interest in the destinations that are being shown on these platforms. We also see that rural destinations are thought after, and it's important to offer more experiential activities in these destinations. One of them that we are seeing interest is astrotourism, watching the stars in zero pollution skies, as you can see on the image here. So that's just an option that might be useful for you. We see also interest in everything that has to do with wellness, rejuvenation, spas, health. So it's important to get familiar with what we can sell as thermal destinations, for example. Gastronomy tourism, it has always been a trend, actually, but we see that destinations are using gastronomy more and more as a way to sell themselves. And it's always a great option to include gastronomy experience when you sell packages for travel. And last but not least, although this does not have to do with products, but we see that AI is coming up, and it will be embedded through the, let's say, journey of the traveler when doing the trip from the beginning to the end. Actually, UN Tourism is working on its first publication or the first guidelines to tell the sector, okay, what to expect in terms of artificial intelligence and how to adapt better. I'm sure when we have it ready, we'll be able to share as well with Lufthansa City Center and share it with all the network. And that's a little bit the trends and numbers I wanted to go over. I went over a little bit with the time. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, the information will be made available for you in case you find it interesting. And we'll be seeing each other around.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So one of the questions I got in was the countries that felt that they should have been mentioned, but of course you're not responsible for why they're not mentioned on the stats, but I can tell whoever wrote the question was about Thailand and why Thailand wasn't mentioned, because it's such a great destination, but it is a great destination. But
no, actually it might not be mentioned because most of the destinations that are on the list are destinations that are growing the fastest. So Thailand has already a big base of tourism, I don't know, maybe 40 million. So if Thailand grows 1 million in tourists, the percentage is small. However, if we have Fiji growing 500,000, then they made it to the list.
I saw Liechtenstein was on there, and that grew from 10 visitors to 12 visitors, so they were 20% up. Sorry if there's anyone from Liechtenstein there.
No. But you already know that Thailand must be on your list, on your portfolio to sell.
You don't have to promote it, it's fine. Let me ask you, but I wondered actually, because I saw on countries generating the travel, I was surprised, for instance, to see, a little bit surprised to see Russia there, but also I was surprised to see Korea, for instance, ahead of Japan. You know, you would think that Japan, that has a lot of tourists, is bigger. But so that was a surprise for me.
Yep. So it's actually expenditure on tourism, and there are two important or interesting facts about Japan. The first one is that they opened up to tourism very late. They had restrictions up to...
After COVID, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Very recently, and it has to do also with the strength of the national currency. The Japanese yen plummeted. So that means that the capacity to expand abroad is less. And in the case, Korea opened up earlier at the time. But that's the list for 2023. We might see some changes
we have to trust the figures.
2024.
Final question. I was happy that we got a greeting from the Secretary General. But are you doing any research into the travel agencies' influence on travel and how travel? Do you ever do research into this, or if not, why not, and when are you going to do it?
Well, we do a lot of research. We touch on many different topics, from audiovisual tourism to sports to how reviews influence tourism. But it's been a long time that there's not been that much of contact with the travel agency sector. And actually, this is an opportunity, no?
I think so.
We look forward to a proposal from Lufthansa to carry out a new research on how.
Well, I'm sure all the agents here will help you and will provide you information, but we think that's something that is needed and should be done. Thank you again, Juan Carlos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.